Hey there, this is the latest video of my deep dive series where I look at some of the mods that I'm using in my games, and I hope you may find that these are worth a look for use in your own games. And if you have suggestions for future deep dives, please add a comment to this video. And if you have suggestions for how to achieve ultimate happiness and enlightenment, or even unlimited riches, go ahead and post those too. However, before I get going, I want to point out that these videos will be directed from the point of view of PC users using a keyboard and mouse, and otherwise running with the default settings, because quite frankly, that's what I have, and I'm pretty ignorant of anything outside of that. Therefore, if you're running on a Mac, console, Raspberry Pi, Apple smartwatch, Magic Crystal Ball, or if you just use a gamepad with the PC, some of the control options and elements will undoubtedly be different, but the functionality demonstrated should still be valid. Today I'm going to explore the Domum Ornamentum mod version 1.0.107 for Minecraft Java Edition. Now, if you can pronounce the name 2 or 3 times in a row without botching it, you are a far better person than I am. And in fact, in an effort to save myself additional embarrassment and reduce the time to record this video from several days to several hours due to retakes, I will just refer to Domum Ornamentum as DO from now on. So, welcome to the deep dive of the DO mod. Difficult name aside, this is not a new mod, nor is it a really ancient one either. Nor is it a large mod, but it brings a lot of bang for the buck. Well, though to be completely clear, it is free, so almost any useful functionality would be a good value. However, the point I'm trying to make here is that a lot of good stuff is packed into this tiny little mod, and that's why it's one that I've come to love, and I use it in all of my survival games. In fact, as a builder, I use it a lot, and if you're a builder, I suspect you will too. So what's the big deal? First off, DO offers a number of new blocks, and you may be thinking, so what? Most mods offer new blocks, and yes, that is indeed true, but that's not where the magic truly lies here, but I'll get to that in a minute. So back to those blocks. DO brings us a number of new blocks. There are the extra blocks, and that's not that they're part of some kind of bonus set or anything, but rather that's exactly what they're named in the mod. Now, there are the brick extra blocks, which have a nice pattern that for some reason is not quite brick-like, but they come in a bunch of different colors, and though they do tend to be among the darker shades. Then there are the cactus extra blocks that are made from cactus and essentially give you green or light green planks. There's a wheat block that looks a lot like, not exactly like a regular vanilla wheat block, but it's yours for the bargain price of 1.25 wheat per block. There are 2 paper extra blocks. One is from plain paper and the other is a white paper block, which is actually slightly translucent, so that has all sorts of potential as well. There are also new brick blocks that look, well, brick-like. They're based off the regular vanilla brick blocks and the vanilla stone brick blocks, and quite frankly, in my humble opinion, these almost make the mod worthwhile all by themselves. And then there are some blocks that are, well, less block-like, such as 2 barrels. One standing and one laying on its side. And forget the icons in JEI. Look at these beauties. Unfortunately, they're just for show, but I would use these a lot more if they actually worked as containers. And finally, the last of the basic items are floating carpets. Now, they look and act exactly like regular vanilla carpets, but they can do something that regular vanilla carpets can't do. And no, they can't vacuum themselves. However, they can be placed on the bottom of a block. Though it doesn't quite work like you may imagine. Instead of sticking directly to the bottom of the block, they stick at the bottom of the block under the block you place the carpet on. So they appear to be floating, like vanilla carpets do when you put down 2 on top of each other. Admittedly, I don't know why exactly that kind of thing is needed, but it's there if you do happen to need it. But now we get to the part where the DO mod really works its magic. And if you're a serious builder, you might already be screaming at the screen, yes, but what other shapes do these blocks come in? And the answer would be an infuriating, that depends. If you stick with your traditional crafting stations, such as the crafting table and the stone cutter, then that's all she wrote. Turn off the lights, we can go home now. But If you whip up an architect's cutter, courtesy of DO, then your options broaden considerably and they grow probably a bit further than you might imagine. And before we get into the use of the architect's cutter, let me address the elephant in the room. Yes, the architect's cutter looks a lot like a stone cutter. In fact, right on the mod's CurseForge page, they admit that it's a specialized stone cutter. And generally, that should be the end of it, as there are obvious physical differences. But let me assure you that as a builder, you will often need both workstations, and there will be plenty of times when you open one instead of the other. You might as well get used to the idea now and save yourself a great deal of frustration later. However, unlike the stone cutter, the architect's cutter has 3 input stacks. So let's start with the first, in the far upper left corner. Plop one of the DO blocks in there and you will see that you now have a number of options that you can select to transform the original block, just like you would in a stone cutter. You have the option to create slabs and stairs. And you can choose from one of 3 different variations of pillars. There are 4 door options. One is based on the model for vanilla oak doors, and another is based on the model for vanilla acacia doors. And there are 2 completely new door types. And you can also choose from a number of different trapdoor styles as well. And you can choose from walls, fences, and gates. And then there are my favorites, the panels. They look like trapdoors, but they're not doors. They're blocks, just really, really thin ones. Using blocks, slabs, and panels, builders have a lot of options for providing 3D texture to their builds. And quite frankly, 3D texture is every bit as important as choosing the right color, material, and style for their builds. But as they say on late night TV, or at least as they used to say on late night TV, but wait, there's more. DO lets you combine 2 different block types to generate composite blocks. So using the top 2 inputs, you can generate a block where the top left input is used to frame the top right input. And there are a number of full-size block templates, and there's even one that looks and acts much like a pane of glass. But it's not glass. It's the material you chose framed by the other material you chose. And this brings a lot of flexibility and variety to the builder's palette. Okay, so all of that sounds pretty good. But here's where we ignite the second stage boosters, because all of that certainly works with the new blocks provided by DO, but they also work with most of the vanilla blocks and many modded ones as well. This then gives you literally thousands and thousands of block styles and shapes and combinations of those that you didn't have before. And there's an incredible amount of potential there. You just need to go out and play with it a bit to get the creative juices flowing. And to help you along with that, let me show you some of my favorite ways to use these. If you like the look of iron doors and trapdoors, but you don't like the redstone requirement, grab an iron block and throw it in the architect's cutter. Yeah, that can be expensive, but you get what you want. Or perhaps you like the idea of an iron grate in the street or sidewalk, but you don't want anyone to be able to open it, with or without redstone. So grab that block of iron and use the architect's cutter to make a panel that can be placed just like a trap door, but can't be opened because it's a block. But what if you do want a door, and you do want to make it secret, and you don't need or want to rig up some crazy redstone device or machine to make it work? One of my favorites is to use the architect's cutter to make trapdoors of the same material as the wall or floor where I want to put the secret door. It works much better for placement in floors, but the block is otherwise indistinguishable from the real deal until somebody tries to open it. That is, as long as the builder was facing the correct direction when it was placed. Are you like me and love to build medieval timber frame buildings, but after a while they all look the same? Using the architect's cutter, you can mix and match your materials and styles with greater ease than ever before and get results that will go a long ways toward bringing a distinctive look to your builds. And they have a couple of composite roof pieces that look good and have built-in smarts to configure themselves just like Macaw's roofs do. I guess in the end, this is a decoration mod that's not really measured by all the different blocks they bring you, but rather the tools they supply that allow you to create an almost infinite variety of blocks for your building and decorating needs. That wraps it up for the DO mod. Now, I hope you got a pretty good impression of the mod from the video and that you'll try it in your own games. Until next time, I hope this finds you and yours in good health, good spirits, and perhaps a touch of good fortune. Cheers.